Remember when the cereal aisle was the best part of grocery shopping? The crazy flavors, the toys hidden inside, the boxes you begged your parents for. These are 10 childhood cereals you completely forgot existed. Before cereal companies worried about protein and whole grains, someone looked at candy and said, "Yeah, kids should eat this for breakfast." And somehow, Nerds cereal was born. If you were a kid in the 80s, this box was impossible to ignore. Bright colors, 2 flavors, 2 separate sides, just like the candy. And every morning started with one very important decision. Which side are you picking? Or were you mixing them together? Because of course you were. It was colorful, it was weird, and it was exactly the kind of thing that made being a kid in the 80s so fun. Pop-Tarts were already one of the best parts of being a kid. Running late for school? Grab a Pop-Tart. After school snack? Grab a Pop-Tart. So naturally, the 90s looked at them and said, what if we made them tiny and put them in a cereal bowl? And honestly, it worked. Pop-Tarts Crunch was exactly what every kid wanted. A bowl full of tiny Pop-Tarts you could eat with a spoon. No toaster, no waiting, just pour and go. Because apparently even 2 minutes in the toaster was too long when Saturday morning cartoons were starting. Every kid tried to convince their parents that cookies could be breakfast. And for a little while, we actually won. Oreo O's was basically every childhood argument wrapped into one cereal box. Mom, it's not cookies, it's cereal. Sure, totally different. The cereal was good, but everyone knows the best part was what happened after. That chocolate milk sitting at the bottom of the bowl, because finishing the cereal was only half the mission. Drinking the leftover milk was the grand finale. Only the 90s could turn breakfast into a game show. Hidden treasures looked like a normal cereal, but some pieces had a surprise filling hidden inside, and some didn't, which meant every spoonful came with suspense. You weren't just eating cereal, you were searching. Every bite was, did I get one? Nope. What about this one? It was basically a treasure hunt before school, and somehow finding that little burst of filling felt like you had just won something. Some cereals you remember because of the taste, some because of the box, and some because the second you opened them, the entire kitchen smelled like them. That was Waffle Crisp. Tiny waffles in cereal form. It was everything kids loved about breakfast thrown into one bowl. And if you remember those commercials with the little old ladies making waffles, that memory probably just came rushing back. Waffle Crisp was one of those cereals that disappeared, but people never really stopped talking about it. Because once you convince kids they can eat tiny waffles while watching cartoons, they don't forget. The 90s cereal aisle was basically a place where kids' ideas became real. And nothing proves that more than Sprinkle Spangles. Because somebody asked, what if breakfast had sprinkles? And every kid immediately said yes. They were little stars covered in colorful sprinkles. That's it. That was the idea. And honestly, that was enough. Because when you're a kid, you don't care about nutrition. You care that your cereal looks like something from a birthday party. Sprinkle Spangles was exactly the kind of cereal that made you stop in the aisle and say, "Mom, can we get this?" The 80s were the golden age of putting your favorite characters on everything. Lunchboxes, t-shirts, toys, and yes, cereal boxes. So of course, Mr. T got his own cereal, because in the 80s, that actually made perfect sense. The cereal pieces were even shaped like little T's. It was loud, it was fun, and it was sitting there waiting for every kid watching Saturday morning cartoons. Only the 80s could turn a TV icon into breakfast, and somehow make everyone okay with it. If you grew up with Teddy Grahams snacks, you probably remember the little bear crackers being everywhere. lunchboxes, after-school snacks, road trips. But for a little while, those bears made their way into your breakfast bowl. Teddy Graham's Breakfast Bears took something kids already loved and turned it into cereal. And honestly, it made perfect sense. Tiny bears, a bowl of milk, cartoons on TV. That was childhood. This is one of those cereals you probably forgot about until the second you see the box again. Imagine loving Nintendo so much that even turning off your game didn't mean you were done playing. Because now, Mario and Zelda were at breakfast too. The Nintendo cereal system was every 80s kid's dream. 2 different cereals, 1 box. One side for Mario, one side for Zelda. Choosing your cereal basically felt like choosing your next adventure. This was back when Nintendo wasn't just a game system. It was your whole world. The games, the cartoons, the toys, and somehow, even your breakfast. And at number 1, the cereal that sounds like it was invented by a kid. Ice cream cones. Because what kid hasn't thought, why can't we have ice cream for breakfast? And somehow, it happened. Tiny cones, tiny scoops, a whole bowl that looked like dessert. Walking through the cereal aisle and seeing that box felt almost too good to be true. Because childhood cereal wasn't about being practical, it was about being fun. And nothing says being a kid quite like convincing your parents that a bowl full of ice cream cones was actually breakfast. What cereal did we miss? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching So Yesterday.